to my apiary. I have approximately 10 hives. I'm a second-year beekeeper, and right now it is July 18th. My plan today is to go through my hives and check to make sure they have enough food sources, because typically in July the hives usually starve out, and I've had this happen as a first-year beekeeper where I've seen hives actually starve to death and eat their youngs, and then the whole hive dies. It's one of the worst things for a beekeeper, is to realize that a hive died, and it's something that you could prevent. So I plan on taking 4 gallons of syrup that I made today and putting the syrup inside the hives. There's several reasons for that. One is when I open feed, I've noticed that a lot of the local bees are coming in and eating it, and I can see their fly path where they're going out to the different hives. They're not coming back to my hive. So for that, you're also bringing disease and mites possibly to your bees. So to try preventing some of that, I'm going to put the syrup inside the hive in some vegetables that I'll show you. What I'm going to do is prepare my smoker. You should never go into a hive without a smoker. As a beginning beekeeper, I tried to make shortcuts and not do that. So one of the best things about Texas, and one of the worst things, is we have mountain cedar. Now mountain cedar, this is the mulch, you can actually take the bark from the mountain cedars and put it inside your smoker, and it's some of the best smoke you can make. So just get some bark off a tree, rub it together and break it up a little bit. You'll see it'll actually look furry. That's perfect. So we'll take these little pellets, and you can see those. They're just little pellets, and they have sawdust inside them. They're packed in there pretty good, and these burn really well. And then you put them inside the pretty packed cedar chips, or cedar bark. You just light it. I'm gonna light those really good. Once you get a fire going, you really want to give it a good pump. Make sure there's a really good fire happening, because the worst thing that happens is you're in the midway of inspecting your hives and you can't get smoke, and the bees might be a little nasty, especially here in Texas. So you want to make sure your smoker's pretty well lit, and it's not going to go out on you in the middle of your inspection. So get it going pretty good. Make sure you see a flame again before you close it. Make sure you got some good smoke in there. Close your lid up. Good to go. So always be prepared. Make sure you have everything prepared before you go into your hives. First thing is smoker. Figure out what you're going to do and have that material ready for you. So I'm going to be feeding them, and I'll show you. These are the feeders that I use. They have a rubber band on top. You pull the rubber band off, and then the tops are open. And you'll see they got these little caps on. Make sure those caps are seated so the bees don't go inside and drown. And then you fill these up with syrup, plop these back inside, tie down the rubber band, and then we're going to set these inside of the feeder, or inside the frame at the top. And open, I'll look inside the hives, do a little inspection, and I'll drop these inside of them. So that's what I do for the bigger hives. For the smaller hives, I'll use it. So the other type of feeder I have is a ball jar. And this was one of the things I learned as a new beekeeper. This works really well, especially for nukes. This actually fits inside of a frame. And what you do is you poke holes in the top lid. And I just do it with a nail. I don't know if you can see that. I put little tiny holes inside there that actually, just 4 little holes. Fill it up with syrup, put the lid back on, tighten out really tight. And then when you turn it upside down, there will be some leakage at first. It'll leak down into the hive, but it actually entices the bees to come up and eat this. Fill the jar upside down, and a vacuum will keep it from all pouring out. And they'll drink this down probably in a day, so you might want to check this back every day to make sure they have enough food in there. But you also want to make sure you're not feeding your bees so much that you're causing them not to have a place to lay eggs. So make sure that they're not honey bound. You want to make sure there's places for them to actually lay eggs and store their food at the same time. So if they have enough honey in there or enough nectar inside the hive, don't feed them too much. So that's the 2 ways we're going to feed today. This is hive 1, so first thing you want to do is a little bit of smoke in the front. Just kind of let us know that we're coming in. I put a little underneath the back. I'll remove the brick from the top, and then I'll open up the top gently and spray a little bit of smoke inside there. And I'm trying to look inside to see if there's any kind of action going on. And I'll pull this off. Give a little bit of smoke. So there's several types of hive tools you can use. This is the typical one a lot of beekeepers use. It's got a curved end, it looks like a crowbar. That's used for opening up your frames like this. Just do a little twist on all your frames first. And once you do that, you can lift them out. I prefer to use this one that I found online. It's kind of like a hook. Same concept, it's got an edge on it you can use for opening, and it's got a little hook on here that seems to do better. Also, they have frame lifters, so some people like to use these. You reach down, grab your frame, and you can lift the frame up. And we're looking at this one. You can obviously, it's just a blank frame, a lot of baby bees on it, not much going on. So I'm going to set this one aside just to give us some room. Watch out, guys, I don't want to crush you. I don't use these typically, I just want to show you the tools. So I'll go inside here and look around. Lots of bees on the bottom. I'll bring the camera over here so you can see. They are pulling some comb, some new comb. This is a good sign. So they're looking for more storage space. And this is a comb that I put in from previous. I do see some nectar in there, so if you look inside you can see some shiny nectar and some bee pollen. So bee pollen is the protein, and the liquid that you see there, that is the nectar, and the nectar is typically the carbohydrates. Okay, so in this last frame here, looks like there's some drawn comb. This is an old frame. I'm probably gonna remove a couple of these and put the syrup in here for these guys so they have some food, because it doesn't look like they have a whole lot of nectar inside of here. I'm gonna go double check. And it is pretty packed on the bottom, so having a second level is a good idea. So I'm gonna go in here and just kind of open these guys up a little bit. Now, my purpose is really to make sure they have food stores. So I'm gonna go in here and try to remove this frame right here without crushing anybody or rolling anybody over. Nice and gentle, no jerking, real easy motion. And we're going to look at the frame. I see spotted brood in there. I see some nectar inside there. Lot of workers. And out here you see some capped honey. See right there, this is all capped honey. Okay, so I'm going to set this in the other box just in case the queen's on there. I don't want her to be lost. I'm going to set her inside this box. Okay, one of the problems we have in Texas is if you put your iPhone in the sun for too long, it gets overheated and you get a temperature warning and it shuts your video off. So we missed the second half of that for frame 1, or for hive 1. You'll see back here, right about this point here, I have a hive sitting there. One of my hives already starved out. It's all the bees just disappeared. It looked like there was some brood that was trying to eat its way out without any kind of nurse bees helping them. So really sad to see that. I'm not sure what happened. In beekeeping world, they call it absconded, where the bees just disappear. You don't know where they go. They basically left. They left the hive. I don't see any dead bees there, so they basically just left. Could be due to heat, lack of resources. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So if you have any idea why that happened, possibly I could show you the inside of the hive. Maybe some experienced beekeepers, when we show you the video on that, you might be able to tell me just by seeing what you see. Maybe you can figure out what happened. Besides having empty frames just open, you'll see here, it looks like there's a lot of young larvae that were trying to eat their way out, but they had no one there to help them. I'm not sure what this is that happened here. I do see a lot of brood in there, and then over here you'll see, if you look close enough, you'll see now that there's some webbing going on inside some of these cells, and that just means there's some wax moths that came into this hive because there was no bees in there to protect it. So this is what happened to this hive, and there are no bees left in there, so sad. This was a new hive that I put in. I installed it. It was Italians, and you can see again, here's another frame, and same type thing where looks like bees are trying to get out, and I don't think anybody was there to help them. So if anybody has any idea, if anybody has any ideas of what happened here, that's about the most evidence I have of anything. Everything else is just empty, no food stores. So the hive could have gotten robbed. Here's hive 2 still. Here's the bottom half. I'm going inside here just to take a quick look. There's a wax moth. So if you ever wonder what those wax moths look like, that is a wax moth. Get rid of that guy. There's some good pollen in here still. So this has been out in the sun. I will give this pollen to another hive. And there's nothing on this side. Same thing, pollen. Looks like we got some wax moth damage in here. So not sure. This is some pretty good, it looks like drone comb. It's very large, but could be wrong. Smaller comb, bigger comb. Again, another wax moth right there. There's a cricket in there now. I don't know how long this has been in there like this. It's been at least 2 days. Again, good honeycomb right there. So I'll probably melt that down or give it to one of their hives to help them out. Good honeycomb. Empty frame. Empty frame. No dead bees. You look inside here. Let's see if I can bring the camera here. You look inside. It is empty. There's a little comb right here. There's some bottom halves of some bees right there. It looks like bottom halves. And not much more in here. There's no dead bees, so they absconded for sure. This is hive 2. Put some sugar syrup right there in the slot. This hive is doing really well. Okay, just going to drop it right in here, right like so. Make sure we get those edges in all the way. You gotta be careful because the queen's on top. You don't want to smash her or roll her, so that's all you need to do. And it's got some syrup inside there, so we're going to close this up. Nothing in there, no food. That's a problem. There's the queen. See her there in blue? I don't know if you guys can spot her. She's right there. So she's got a couple of brood in her, not much. She's skinny. Not a lot of laying going on. Oh, take it back. Lots of brood. This is good. A lot of brood there. More brood on this side, and there's some honey right there on the bottom, right here where my tool is pointing. So they do have some stores in there. I wish they would have more honeycomb so they can store the food. More honey. This is good for them. Lots of honey. On that side. This side, they're still trying to build out the comb. So put that back. Place these back in here. That back in there. And then we'll put the top on first. So we're going to put this lid on. And then I'll put the jar on top of this. As I said before, the jar is full of syrup. It's got holes on top. Just flip it upside down and just set it there. A little bit will leak in the hive, but it'll stop from vacuuming, from the vacuum. And then we're going to take the lid, line it up perfectly because you don't want to adjust it later on and knock that over. And then we just put the lid on top. And then our rock. So you'll notice there's still bees in there. Those will come out, they'll crawl over into the hive, they'll smell the queen and go over there, and this hive will be empty. And then I will return it back to my supplies.